Welcome to Discover Indie Film. I am Jeff Howard, and I have two people in person with me. This is actually exciting because the last couple of podcasts have been Zoom. So I've got Annie Girard and Diana Wright. Hey, you two.
Hey.
Hello.
All right. You're here because your film, you made the short film, One in the Chamber, Film Invasion Los Angeles 2025, June of 2025. You showed up and took home the award, the Filmmakers Award for Outstanding Short Film Comedy at Film Invasion Los Angeles. And if you weren't super aware of it, I have to repeat that I hope you know the Filmmakers Awards, that's a jury of your peers. That's the alumni jury. So it's not the selection jury, which is a bunch of old farts who don't, like people who haven't written or shot anything for 10 years and then we're doing something else with our lives, but we're on the selection jury. No, that's active filmmakers. Your peers chose to give you. I think it's I love that.
That's
so
awesome.
Yeah. I was honored.
Yeah.
Excellent. And an outstanding comedy. Because it is. One in the Chamber kicks ass. Love it.
Yeah.
And you've had an amazing festival run with it.
Mm-hmm. We have. Yeah, we're kind of reaching the end of it, but we've done about 20 festivals so far, and we've won about 8 awards. So yeah, not too shabby.
We'll
Can't
take
complain
it.
about.
Including the awards the award you have a trophy for, right? No,
We have 2 trophies in our bags right now.
I know. You say I love that you're here in person and you got your trophies in person instead of having them mailed. It's cool.
Yeah, it feels more official.
Yeah. Excellent. All right. So, I assume you're still on the festival circuit, so it's not online yet for people to catch, or is it about to be online?
We are on. We're ramping down. We have a few more festivals to go, and then we're thinking about where we want to position it online. It is on a few gate-kept apps on there, but it's not for open consumption yet.
Got
We
it.
do have a festival Monday,
Yeah.
right? Rock Your Shorts coming up. Closer. How's that?
Closer to the mic. Closer is better. I was just asking do we have to avoid spoilers, you think?
I think we're at the end.
We're fine.
Yeah,
You're
we're
at the
good.
end?
Spoil
All right.
it all.
Yeah, and this will come out second week of September.
Oh
Great.
yeah. We're
I
good.
think.
That's kind of.
I think I'm
we're-
guessing.
We're ramping up.
Let's
wrapping
read the
up.
script line by line.
We can. I bet you've done that. I bet you did that. I bet you did a table read, just the two of you as you were writing many times.
Yeah, quite a few.
Yeah.
Did you practice the fight scenes? We can. There we go. Full spoilers already.
There is
Fight scenes.
There is a fight scene. Yeah, we did. We would try to choreograph it ourselves, and we'd be when we were dealing with our stunt coordinator who helped us design the fight. We would step in as the various people, and I was actually pregnant at the time, so I was constantly playing one of the characters.
Yeah, she played the pregnant character.
Spoiler alert, one of the characters is pregnant. And so, but it did, I kept trying to do the moves, but I was actually pregnant, and so it was much harder to do.
It's harder with a real baby inside than a fake baby strapped in.
Yeah, a real baby plus not being a trained stunt person made it a bit more cumbersome.
Though I don't think a pregnancy belly makes anything easier.
No.
Especially in the hot September.
Yes, we did. We had a few changes of complete wardrobe down to the underwear of just because it was so sweaty in there.
I can imagine. Because Diana was at the screening, so I got to do your Q&A.
You did, yes.
Which was fun because
I'm so sad I missed that.
I know.
Yeah.
Annie wasn't there, but I'll add this. That was my last festival of doing Q&As.
Huh.
Yeah, now that we're on 3 screens at once at these festivals, the staff kind of explained to me, you can't disappear into the theater now. There's too much going on, and there's always a fire to put out. Mm-hmm. So I don't get. So you were one of my last Q&As.
I interviewed Diana. I knew it would never get better than that.
Never
So
get
I'm
better
gonna
than One in the
retire.
Chamber.
Stop while you're ahead.
A lot of people meet me and then just decide to quit forever, whatever they've been doing for years. So,
But I guess in a way it makes the podcast more important to me now because now it's. Yeah, well, I wouldn't have gotten to meet Annie at all if it weren't for the podcast.
That's true, yeah.
Unless maybe we chatted if you came in person to pick up a trophy or something. And now, so now I'll be like begging people. I'm like, yeah, please come on the pod. I didn't get to do a Q&A with you at all.
I mean, I love that your questions were really thoughtful, I assume, because you seem like someone who's very interested in the art and careful about...
I mean, it's very in line. I felt like the screening was so well tailored, and then the Q&As were so well tailored. I mean, it was honestly the best experience that I had on the filmmaking circuit. It just felt very... I was like, oh, all these films were great and super funny, and then the questions were researched, and that isn't always the case at festivals.
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed our joke that on one of the T-shirts it said Filmvasion Los Angeles, then below it the popcorn box it said the festival that gives a shit. like we actually do. Like even the person on the red carpet who interviewed you had seen your film.
Yeah,
and was like. She watches every
That is
film
so cool.
because we do care.
Yeah, I think that it showed. It didn't feel like anyone was giving any like fluff questions or like, oh, I'm just coming up with a question on the fly. Like it felt very curated. And I think when you come into a festival with a film that you've spent years creating and making, it's just nice to know that, oh, everyone here has seen it and knows it and is aware of it. So I felt very taken care of.
Thank you. I mean, that's our goal. Our goal. We care. That's honestly why we started the festivals 10 years ago, because there wasn't a festival that we liked too much in the area. So kind of made sense. And I don't know, it was a weird experiment. Can you survive doing things the way you think they should be done? Because the smart thing is to show like 9 shorts in a block. And they don't have to be any good as long as they have a lot of local support. And you're premiering a shitty. I mean, every festival we have to say no to all these terrible locally made. You know what I mean? That's such a dick thing to say, but that I get it. It makes more sense to show 9 shorts and have no Q&As, and instead we show like 3 or 4.
Yeah. And
then talk about each short for 15 minutes.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
And but it's worth it, right? Because obviously, I'm addicted to talking about movies because I do this podcast.
Well, I thought it was also very interesting that you had so many alumni coming back to work for you. And I think that's such a testament because I think, you go to these festivals and then you're like, oh, okay, well, I felt a little bit like cattle, so I don't know if I'm going to submit to that one again. And then you had a ton of people who are like, oh, I'm alumni of this year and I'm coming back and working red carpet. And that's, that's hard. Anyone who ever gives you time and resources and talent, I think it's a testament to who you are as, creating space for filmmakers and creatives to have it and they want to give back.
Thank you. Well, you might be asked to. You will both be invited on that Filmmakers board.
Great,
as alumni.
Bring it.
Fun.
And then, although it's funny, we did have I think 5 or 6 people doing Q&As besides me at the last one because honestly, I knew. It was almost like a live auditions. Wait, we're talking about the festival now and not you. Oh, this is not supposed to be about me.
We like to turn the tables.
Here you are.
The next reality TV show, American Moderator.
Yes, seriously. Don't pull it out of me. But I actually did test everyone on Zoom, and I made them do a mock Q&A on Zoom to try to pick the best 6 people to pull in. And then I actually, through the podcast, I keep saying, so what did you think of your Q&A person? But, of course, you had me, so I can't ask you that. and so I'm taking this feedback. I'm like, okay, we've really got to make sure to get that person back. Got to make sure.
It's a good skill. It's a skill that people have to develop and learn, and some people have a natural tendency for it. And, I think it, just like everything else, it can't just be handed off to anyone, to just carry on.
Okay, fine, I'll admit it. So last December was the first time we had multiple screens at Sherman Oaks. We were on 2, so I was in one theater. And the person I lined up for the other had to drop out last minute, and we pulled another staffer who had extensive stand-up comedy experience, so I figured she'd be cool. But the thing is, she wasn't a filmmaker and didn't really... And so actually, some of the more artsy... Because, we go pretty artsy at times, right? People came out and said, I don't think my moderator understood the film. And I was
no.
oh, fuck, that's the one thing we care about is like that they, but like they ask good questions and they're like, oh yeah, no, the Q&A was fine, but I don't think she got it. So that's when I realized, oh, we got to pull more alumni in.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. It's a talent, and it's important, and it can make or break a screening like this.
And as a whole, I mean, okay, we're going to totally shift to you two after this. I swear to God.
I'm enjoying this.
You're enjoying it. Oh, and here I told you how I promise I don't talk too much. and by that aside, I lost my train of thought, which is perfect. So people can't watch One in the Chamber yet, but when you have a link, just email it over to me and we'll make it a clickable link in the show notes so that anyone who listens to this, I would advise them to hit pause, watch this amazingly good film, and then listen to the rest of the interview.
Thank you. Yeah.
Future people.
Yeah,
Future people. Although I will say that like multiple viewings, it actually would be fine for them to listen to this interview and then watch it after having heard everything because it's still super. I mean, I enjoyed it multiple times.
Yeah. I mean, I think it does keep up. It stays with you. I mean, I made it, so I feel that way. But we intentionally wanted to make it very exciting and dynamic and just energy driven. I think making a short film is such an impossible task because either you try to like shove a full length film into a short, or you're making it too open ended, and then you're doing it on a low budget, and so a lot of times it can just feel like, oh, it's two people in a room and like this is what they had. And so we wanted to make something that was dynamic and felt hard to do, which is why I kept writing in the stunt. I was like, we got to have a stunt. Because I was just thinking about all the shorts that had really stayed with me over the years that I had seen at festivals. And they often, especially the comedies, because that's what I'm clued in on. And I was like, oh, they often have like one element where you're like, how did they do that? Like, that's really impressive. And so I wanted to do something like that.
So then she wrote it in and we were like, how are we going to do that? That sounds really impressive.
But I think it's fair to say that for a short, One in the Chamber is technically ambitious as fuck. Like it was a really ambitious short.
It
was.
It was.
Yeah. We had a friend who did us a huge solid favor and AD'd for us, and he ADs on a ton of stuff. Like he did The Hurt Locker and Yellowstone. Oh, I shouldn't be I don't know. Anyway, and he helped us out by ADing, and he was like, usually we do this in like, did he say 10 days?
Yeah, he said something like the one day you have for all the fight sequences, we would take 2 days for. And he would be like, oh, and this stunt, this would be our day.
Yeah.
We were like, okay, we have 15 minutes to get it.
So in what would normally take 10 days, we did in 2.5.
Yeah, it was our fight day was so stacked. I think we had 100 setups that day, and it was just like we had to do it in one. You know, anytime we did it in 2 takes, it was just like, oh, that's time we're wasting for another thing. So that day was tight. That was a lot.
But it worked, and it cut together just wonderfully, right? Like you must have felt really validated in the editing room when you saw it all come together. Because the ambition paid off.
The first cut, we were terrified and horrified and reassessing all of our life choices. But third edit,
that's standard operating procedure for any creative pursuit. I'm sure Picasso many times said, "I can't fucking paint."
It always has happened, and I'm always surprised, is that you get the first cut and you go, I thought we got good stuff during the day. What happened? Did we fail? Like, what's going on? Why is this wrong? And then you slowly shape it and cut little, segments, and it then suddenly like takes shape. But there's that first
when
take
you get that block of marble.
Oh my God.
Comedy especially, right? Like comedy, the timing of editing to comedy is as important as the timing of a stand-up comic's delivery. Mm-hmm. Like comedy's the hardest thing to edit.
It's so hard. And if you don't have an editor who understands the jokes or understand timing, it can just really mess up the flow.
And fight scenes too. We ran through, like when we were asking editors, we were told by several editors, I don't do action. I don't do fight scenes.
Yeah.
So it was hard to find, and we wanted women because we felt like this was a very women-forward story. So we had a lot of fun having a lot of I think all of our department heads were women, and most were moms because it's a mom story.
It is, yeah. I mean, we wanted it to be, once you've seen it, we wanted it to be accessible for everyone, but that for parents to have a little extra, wink and nod, maybe a few jokes for them that wouldn't necessarily be the main jokes, but that they would appreciate and understand.
Yeah.
So yeah,
we had a male producer and male executive producer,
yeah, we were required.
We didn't
You
want
didn't ban all Y
men to
chromosomes.
barf. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but it was really important to us in finding people, especially to be department heads that understood the story. And so having women, having moms, they just got it more so than other people were interviewing. So
I would think so. I mean, even though obviously I got a kick out of it and a lot of, but when you were talking about the editing and you made me realize, Annie, as you said, struggling to find editors, was that it's really hard to find editors who are good with comedy and action. Then action comedy,
Yeah.
like that's because there are genuine laughs during your fight scene.
yeah, you have to pull together the fight and pull together the joke, and the way the fight scene works out, it's a little bit of a de-escalation every time with the joke, and so you also have to keep the energy up.
Yeah, and sometimes it is verbal too, right? Sometimes it's dialogue that's funny, not physical. Sometimes it's physical comedy,
Yeah.
and sometimes it's dialogue comedy. Actually, you're making me realize it was more ambitious even than I was thinking.
Yeah, we realized while making it, we're like, we really gave ourselves a steep mountain here because, usually there's a setup punch and then you escalate every time. Whereas we were basically like taking off the punchline of every single joke and then trying to make it funny. Yeah.
And you know about your ending, which we won't spoil. I can't help it. We won't spoil the ending. But obviously, there was something important about the bond between, because these two women are going to end up even more bonded than they were. Like they were friends before, essentially, right?
Well, no.
Well,
they were
friendly, or they respected each other?
I think they were more like workplace competition.
Like rivals?
Yeah, I think workplace rivals, but so this short came as like a proof of concept for a larger feature that we wrote. We wrote the feature during the pandemic. And then I think we were ready to go with it. Like the day the strike got called, we were about ready to take it out to shop. And so we
were like, well, we can't do anything with this.
Yeah. And so then the short kind of was like we were like, we have to do something creative or we're going to die. And so we did the short to keep the project alive. But we wanted the short to feel like its own thing. We didn't want it to feel like a proof of concept. And so we shaved a little bit of the story that's in the feature, so just to make it a little cleaner in the short.
Yeah. So we took our favorite scene, but then we sculpted it and changed it.
Yeah.
The relationship and when realizations happen, they wouldn't happen at that exact point in the feature, but
you did the smart thing, which was don't just lift a scene, rewrite it to be a rewarding short, because otherwise...
Well, I mean, it's so frustrating if you do a proof of concept and then, the project doesn't go, and then you have this very polished proof of concept that isn't quite its own thing. And so I was like, if we're doing the short, I was like, if the short is the last version we see of this project, which I hope not, and fingers crossed, I wanted to feel like it felt finished, that I could be proud of it and it could stand on its own.
Well, excellent. Well, I'm going to try to make a segue from all these excellent decisions you made for this short of the proof of concept. Excellent decision making. Okay, so where did all this begin for you both? How did you get into this? How did you become such seasoned, smart people that know how to write and direct and produce?
We know everything.
You look. You made an indie film. That means you totally got you were turnkey, right? I mean, you did everything. In fact, you even provided sets, correct?
We did, yes.
But don't let me keep it on one in the chamber. Go ahead. Who wants to go first? and talk about
as far
how
as-
you got into the creative arts and filmmaking.
Sure. Do you have an answer ready?
I mean, I was cast in my nursery school play of Noah's Ark. I was actually cast as the horse. No, I was cast as Mrs. Noah, but then we did 2 performances, and the horse was really sad that she hadn't been cast, so I let her have my part, and then I did the horse.
And this is Annie
This is
started.
Annie Girard.
Annie Girard. And actually, I'm worried about your waveform, so a little closer maybe.
So, wow, I feel like I'm making out with the mic. Hi, audience. Yeah, so I think I was just bit by the bug at that point. I think also maybe because I really liked terrifying my parents. My dad was a scientist, my mom was a teacher, and they were like, we don't know how to help you with this career. If you wanted to be a lawyer, we have a lot of people we could introduce you to. If you wanted to do science or teaching, we could help there. We got no ideas, and we're very scared, but we will support you in any way we can.
And what part of the country were you in?
I was in rural Illinois. I grew up on campus. I was actually born on a Christian Science college campus, like the only one in the world. They don't believe in medicine or doctors, so there was no doctor there when I was born. There was just a Christian Science nurse, which I like to say the only difference between regular nurses and Christian Science nurses is that Christian Science nurses have no medical training. So,
Just a little different.
slight difference.
I got something in your tone there for sure.
We left the religion when I was 12, and then I went to school in public school in rural Illinois.
Right. So far from the entertainment industry that
So
it was
far,
just,
yeah.
to your parents when you started performing and being interested in this. Yeah. Like you said, you might as well have said, I want to be an astronaut on Mars.
Right.
It was
With
that
the caveat
unconnected.
that my dad's brother did live in Los Angeles and was a writer, director of indie film. Like he did a Troma, like B movies, really fun stuff. And he also traveled with a circus doing music. But I think
So there was something in the DNA, sort
Yeah.
of.
Yeah.
Yeah. You had an artsy uncle,
yes, yeah.
if you can call Troma artsy. But yeah, fair enough. Very cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. So did you get more involved in it in junior high school?
So yes, I went to college for, I did, school stuff. I went to college for theater. I did a program called the Eugene O'Neill National Theater Institute, which is in Connecticut, in college. And maybe that's where I passed it over to Diana.
Yeah,
Because that's where we met.
That's how we met.
Oh, so you met there. But the focus was performance. Or were you a writer
it was
too?
soup to nuts theater. We had to learn about everything.
Yeah, you do playwriting, you do design, you do movement, you do acting, you do it all. It's it's meant to just your stage combat, mask design.
You learn how to be a baby.
All those important skills that carry on with you. So we went to that program at different years and met at a reunion there, and I was like, ooh, this lady seems fun and lives in Los Angeles. But yeah, I think it's very funny that we met in Connecticut, but lived in Los Angeles.
Yeah. All right. So all right.
Well, my journey.
Yeah. Diana's turn.
Yes. I wasn't cast in any preschool, but my dad is a Nobel Prize-winning astrophysicist. He's a genius in his field, and my mom is a top secret weapons designer. She loves to say, "I have secrets I'll carry to my grave. They're just not very interesting secrets." So I grew up in this sciencey world, but in Los Angeles. So I was connected to the industry through that, and I always felt like I was just the oddball of my family. I call myself, I'm not bad enough to be the black sheep, but I'm the gray sheep. So I'm just a little off. And, just being in LA, I started meeting people at our UU church. When I was a kid, I got to meet Wally Bogue, who was Steve Martin's mentor. And like we did plays together, and I learned how to tap dance because of him. And I slowly just started to learn just how smart you had to be to like be funny. And I learned, all these like TV writers were these Harvard Lampoon guys, and my parents took me to like Capitol Step shows when I really shouldn't have been. And so and then I basically turned all like my awkward being into being funny. And then suddenly that opened up a lot of freedom for me. And I was like, I could make a career out of this. And so I think it was like, I really wanted to be a Broadway performer. I cannot sing. And so I was like, well, I'll be a clown instead. But yeah, it was just, I wanted to be as different from my family as possible, kind of. So it's just like a act of rebellion that brought me here.
and a comedic force. All right, now you forced me into a personal interest, which is siblings.
Yes.
And birth order.
We've talked about this. Yeah, I have an older brother. So I'm the second. I'm the creative second. And my brother was very golden child. And I was kind of the oddball who couldn't fit in. And so, yeah, there was definitely that. I was both fighting out of his shadow and trying to create my own space.
Second of two, and older brother was the super serious student engineer, and I just wanted to be as opposite as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. You? Any siblings?
I was the creative first. I was the oldest. I have one younger brother. He went through a rebellious stage early, dropped out of a couple colleges, but then he had a kid and got his stuff together. He was living in a commune on the big island of Hawaii, and then he had to get his stuff together. So he went into the Army, into the Defense Language Institute, and he learned Chinese, and then he got a chemical engineering degree, and now he's working for Big Pharma and lives in China. So very different.
Very different. Wow, yeah. Fascinating. All right, back to Diana. Sorry, I'm always fascinated by the birth order thing, because very often it is like the older sibling like does all this responsible shit for the parents, and then the younger one, like the parents were so chill. But anyway, so
I did think I was kind of like a surprise to my family, a very wanted surprise. But I think they had thought they couldn't have a second child, and so they had me. So I was just this like empathy, like chaos monster. I mean, my family is obviously very smart, and I think I was the only one born with any like emotional intelligence. And so that was the other thing too, is like I felt like I was like, I just have to like figure out how to be a person, which is like really good training ground to like figure out human emotion and like motivation and writing and things like that. But it was very much like, oh, okay, like I think I'm on my own here. I think I got to figure this out.
It's so funny because my brother's like a total genius. Like he'll read a book on mushrooms and know every single scientific term. And I mean, obviously he's a chemical engineer. And so I was like, Justin, you're really smart. I'm planning to live in your garage when I grow up. I need you to buckle down and get a really nice garage.
Yeah, maybe even one of those suites above the garage.
Oh, yeah. Like a late season, addition to a TV show in the 90s. My brother's an entrepreneur, so like we often talk about our projects because he's constantly putting together business proposals and things, and I'm like, oh, we do the same thing. We're both creatively minded. You just do it through business, and I do it through movies and the arts. So he has the potential of making a lot of money, and I'm like, no, never.
Well, there's a shot, but also I actually said this during a podcast last night, which is every film is a business startup. And because if you don't have the business savvy, then it doesn't turn out well. Like you were co-CEOs of a company to make this film.
Very
actually,
much so.
Literally.
Yeah, literally. But yeah, it was like dealing with like payroll and SAG paperwork and insurance and permitting. And because we had stunts, everything got a little bit more complicated and things. So yeah, you have to wear so many hats when you're doing it on your own.
Yeah. So you're using the same skills.
Oh, I always joke that I majored in extracurriculars in college because all I was doing was producing theater and all this stuff. But I was like, I went to producing boot camp like this. I made my own producing program because I became very, easy at like, you call up this person and you figure it out and you find out how it's going to be done. And I think so much of Hollywood is gatekept, but when you do start calling those production houses, like the camera rentals, the prop houses and things, they're willing to talk to you. They want you to succeed as well. And so it becomes a little less scary to kind of start to figure that out. When you're going the studio route, it can be so, opaque and difficult to figure out. And when you're doing just like indie filmmaking where you're literally like, okay, I need a camera, a boom mic, and 500 clowns. How am I going to get that to go, happen? And then you start working on it.
That's our next short. No, it's not.
A camera, a mic, and 500 clowns.
So the next one is horror. Because there's not a single person who didn't shudder a little when they heard the words 500 clowns. That's the beginning of a massacre. For sure. All right, so wait, just so I understand it, did you both do like undergraduate programs and then met at this Eugene O'Neill thing, or is that?
Yes. So that was a semester, quote unquote, abroad, a domestic semester abroad program. So that's like a intense 3-month conservatory program,
which also takes like trips to either England, Stratford-on-Avon, or Russia.
Yeah, I didn't get that.
I don't know if Russia's still going on, but
yeah, we were supposed to go to England, but we didn't get that.
Oh, right.
We got the Wooster Group to come to us, which is a wonderful experimental theater company in New York. They were fantastic. The owner of the company won the MacArthur Genius Grant, and that's where Willem Dafoe came out of. And they're very bitter about it. We were like, oh, what do you think of Willem Dafoe? And they're like, well, he made his choices. Okay.
Boy, that's interesting, because talk about someone everyone else loves.
Well, you have to figure out it's a bunch of people who have committed their life to a theater program,
right,
and who are like working as teachers so that they can do theater in the evenings, and then Willem Dafoe left and became a filmmaker, and so at times they can be like, oh well, he abandoned his craft.
In other words, he's a sellout.
He's a sellout
to them. If you're a stage purist,
yes,
his career is not pure.
I will say, when we go back for reunions, I feel a little bit like, ooh, they're all doing serious theater, and I'm writing fart jokes for cartoons.
I did. My cohort created a theater company in New York and creating these theater experiences, and I was like, oh, I just want to write dumb jokes, and I'm gonna move out to LA and do TV. It felt very abandoning the theater, but I was like, sorry guys, bye.
But I think there's we can make important things in film too, with jokes even. I mean,
the biggest thing, I got to intern at the Daily Show with Jon Stewart. I guess it's now again the Daily Show with Jon Stewart. And that was, I think there is something to be said about if you want to feed people tough information, humor is the best way to do it. What is it? The Mark Twain
spoonful of sugar. That's it, right?
Yeah, spoonful of sugar.
He sung it in a peppy, that was Mark Twain, right?
Yeah, it's Mark Twain, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Mark Twain, everyone knows Mark Twain. Umbrella, Mark Twain. He has that quote where he's like, if you're going to tell people the truth, make them laugh. I'm sure that is not the quote, but
something like that.
Yeah,
Kurt Vonnegut says something about laughing so you don't kill yourself. Don't cry.
But I just think that comedy doesn't get its credit, because I think so many comedies have these underpinnings, including ours, which is it was inspired by workplace discrimination we
experienced,
for being pregnant and deciding to have kids and being working parents that we're still dealing with and having to maneuver. And so, we wanted to do
which
it in
applies
a
to
fun way.
all industries as well, not just yours.
Especially the assassin industry.
Yes.
Especially.
100%.
Talk about a sexist group of people.
So
those assassins.
It's rough. They're working on it.
Yeah, very
They're-
gender bifurcated.
They got to shoot the glass ceiling out.
Boy, you're baiting me to talk about how the KGB actually had their whole program of beautiful Russian women taking advantage of Western men
I mean, yeah.
and killing them. No, but anyway,
Well,
I don't want to distract you with that.
Spies
But if one of
want a
them got
honey
pregnant,
pot,
yeah.
they don't want a mama. You know, once you get out,
A baby pot.
a baby pot.
I guess you're right, although
You know?
I don't want to reveal that there's something very beautiful about a pregnant woman. But anyway,
I'm just saying, there's a lot of things you can hide on a pregnant belly.
so
Yeah, yeah.
so you both
Lot of
did
weapons.
this Eugene O'Neill thing at different times, but then we're LA based. And then this amazing program also has reunions, and you met at that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And just clicked because you were both actually, for a very serious stage program, you both had that foundation but wanted to do this with it. Like, was that sort of the bond and comedy?
Yeah, I think it was just, I think you were one of the few people at the reunion that was like working in TV and film. So many of them were still in theater and things like that, and also being in Los Angeles.
And also being in comedy.
And in comedy, yeah. So it's like, it was definitely, I zeroed in on you for a reason, because I was like, oh, you're like me in this crazy, like, and it's like, oh, someone who wants to do Chekhov and then also do comedy. Although, you know, Chekhov would claim that A Cherry Orchard is a comedy. I disagree. So it felt like, oh,
It's
we
like
have
the
this group
bear.
training. Like the bear, full of laughs.
The Bear and the Seagull, same show.
Yeah, exactly. I have a theory. I think we should have a new category. So we have like comedy, half hour, drama, hour. This is TV, less so now. I think dramedy should be 45 minutes.
Yeah. Split the difference.
We should have a separate dramedy category. It is 45 minutes. We're in a different length, because it's like you want a little bit more than a comedy, but it's too much for a drama. You want a solid 45.
Which I want the opposite. I want longer comedies and shorter dramas.
Oh,
I don't know.
okay.
I'm with you. I'm almost tempted to follow this along with you and add to it, but instead I'm going to get back to your personal stories.
Did you say
I'm
tangent?
so tempted for the tangent. Well, fine. I have noticed that all comedies get more dramatic in season 2. Like hilarious shit like The Righteous Gemstones, which was the funny version of Succession, ends up as serious as Succession as you
Right.
get. They like storytellers all get serious.
Or-
Shame on them. They should stay funny.
Yeah.
I just watched all the Harry Potters back to back. That happens like crazy.
Oh yeah, gets dark fast.
Yeah. They're not talking about windings and
Do you have
chocolate
Do you have kids at
frogs.
Harry Potter age now?
yes.
That's a fun age.
Yeah.
I admit I had to read the books and then watch all the films a couple times. So you have both mentioned working in the industry and stuff. I obviously have to ask how you went from college and that program to actually working in the industry, like, because you met there, but you were both already working in it, right?
Yeah.
So how did you, because especially for Annie in a way, because at least, I mean, Diana was in LA, so there's more, it's more believable.
I did.
Well, you know what I mean? Like
You had a place to stay.
I had a place to stay. Yeah, that helped.
yeah, for you had to like, so go ahead, tell me, moving to LA and or getting a toehold.
Well, I put everything I owned in my Bonneville and drove to Los Angeles. And I did live in my uncle's loft while I looked for an apartment and a job. And then I came out for acting. I was like, I'm acting. And I kept on. So I did a little bit of acting, but it was just like, vampire rape victim number 3 or something. And I was in a sketch comedy show, and I quickly learned if I wanted good roles, I had to write them myself. So then I had an agent that I met through that show come to see the show, and he was considering repping me, but he said, I only rep multi-hyphenates. I won't rep just an actor. You have to be a writer as well, at least. And so I was like, well, I have these scripts from my sketch comedy shows, I guess. And he was like, you're hired? Do you hire I don't know. Anyway.
You're signed.
You're signed.
You're hip pocketed.
You're signed. And then he sent me out for a job for Blue Collar TV. It was a sketch comedy show with Larry the Cable Guy and Jeff Foxworthy. And it was the first writing job I got put up for, and I got it. So I was like, writing jobs are so easy. It's so easy to write for television. And I did that, and it was such an amazing writing staff. I mean, they're like Liz Feldman was across the hall from me, and she just created, Dead to Me and other amazing shows. So it was a bunch of people like writing redneck humor. And I remember Mike Short was also on the staff. He's Martin Short's brother. And he told me, he was like, okay, here's what you do on pitch day. Because like every Monday we'd bring in pitches, and you'd bring in like 4 pitches. He goes, okay, what you need to do is you bring in 2 that you think, or maybe 3 that you think are right for the show. But then you bring in 1 that's actually funny. To like prove to everyone that you are funny. So, I mean, it was an amazing job and opportunity. I learned so much from people, but I didn't have any training in writing. I didn't consider myself a writer. All I had done was sketch shows. And I was like, and the show got canceled, and I was like, oh, thank goodness I can go back to acting. And then I was like, wait a second, that was actually really fun. I got to like work creatively. I got to, and writing is cool because you can do it without anyone's permission. You're not just like holding your hands out like, please give me a role, please give me a role. I mean, I guess also making indie film is a way to take your destiny in your own hands. But it was nice because you can just like write and you make art and you tell stories. So I had to go back to the drawing board and learn how to write. And that took a while. And then I started writing. I was also doing stand-up. I was also doing sketch. I was also acting. I was also writing. And at one point I was like, okay, I got to focus. So I was like, I'm going to do writing. And I got actually hired just through someone that I met doing stand-up. So I feel like, I don't know, work begets work. And every single job I've ever gotten was through someone that I had worked with in some capacity, usually for free or in a class. I love taking classes. I just think like being creative and working with other people that you like, you are on the same wavelength with, and like rising together and supporting other people so they get successful, and then you bring each other along. Like that's how I've gotten all my jobs. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
absolutely. And you were putting yourself out there in a way by being part of a sketch show and sketch troupe. Like, that's not sitting at home and writing and just saying, someone's going to discover me. You were out there.
You have to. I mean, I think even with writing jobs, it's all about meeting people. And as much as I would love to sit at home and just wait for the jobs to come to me,
just feel sad. And
anytime I leave my house, I'm like, oh, I was creatively inspired. I met someone who's really cool, and I'm like, I should do this more. No, thank you.
All right. Well, Diana, you get to share how you came in.
Yeah, how I started.
Your toehold.
Well, I didn't get to, I moved all my stuff, but because I already lived here. So, and then I was like, I'm moving out, and got an apartment almost immediately, and then gave it up after the year's lease because I was like, oh, real life sucks. And I also came out thinking I was going to act, didn't really like it because I didn't really like the roles. And I was like, oh, what I like is when I write a really good joke and it's really funny. And I don't really care if I say it or someone else says it. I just want everyone to know that I wrote it. I came up with it. And so I quickly left acting to writing more. And I was doing UCB, the UCB improv cult of the late aughts. And I wasn't getting on the teams I wanted, and I was pushing, taking classes, and everyone was just like there swarming around UCB. And what I was noticing is like not a lot of people were thinking ahead. Like a lot of people were focusing on UCB as a theater, which is wonderful, but not a lot of people were thinking like, oh, what is this going to lead to? And so I was like, okay, I'm going to write a pilot. And I wrote a bunch that were bad. And then I was in an improv workshop where it was like we had to sing a theme song for a show you made up. I sang this theme song, Magic Monkey Billionaire, he's a billionaire. And I kept singing it for 2 weeks. And then I was like, oh, I'm going to write this. And Amazon Studios opened up their like open portal when they first launched. And my show, and I put it up there, and my show got on their development slate while they were still figuring this out, funnily enough. The exec who bought the show was Joe Lewis, who is married to Yada Martinez, who was in our short. So that was very fun. It felt like a very kismet moment because that was the first time I'd gotten a paycheck for my writing and an external validation of someone saying, you know, that was good. You can do this. And that same year, I was a finalist for the Nickelodeon Writing Fellowship. I had to drop out because the final interviews corresponded to my brother's wedding. They are now divorced, so I'm a little bummed about it. But it was just...
terrible priorities, by the way. Like...
And then at the same time, I was working a job as a Simpsons writer's nanny and personal assistant, and doing that. And I'd gotten that through. What I would recommend is if you're just like coming out here to start and take advantage of alumni networks, not only your own, just anyone's. So I got this job because it was posted on Harvard Wood, that's Harvard's like job posting. My dad went to Harvard, so I was like on that like platform. So I literally was like applying for jobs, being like, "You might notice that I did not go to Harvard, but blah, 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 blah." Because like some schools have really good, you know, programs out here, feeder programs, and so so I got that job through that, and then basically I was doing all this writing stuff, and I was trying to get a film noir comedy off the ground, and I invited my boss to a table read, and he had said no to a ton of stuff that I already invited him to, and so he went to that and decided he was like, "Oh, you're funny." He fell asleep for the second half, but the first half was enough. And so I started writing for The Simpsons Tapped Out, which is their iPad game. And I got to write all the levels that the Simpsons writers didn't want to write because they were like tired.
What levels were those? Like the bathroom levels? Like what was...
He told me I was the best at turning in scripts on time.
I'll take it.
And I was like, thank you. And then he brought me in as like doing mini rooms for the game to like fix levels that were already written. So it was funny. I got to like, I mean, for me, The Simpsons was the show growing up that I loved, and to then be working on The Simpsons and writing characters and like, oh God, I troll message boards and people would be like, oh, this joke was really funny. I'd be like, yay. But I got to write something, that Sarah Silverman voiced, but it was like it's a little in-game. I mean, the game doesn't exist anymore, but it was an in-game little clip. And I'm like, oh, is that Sarah Silverman? To like this robot character that I wrote like in an afternoon. And so that was really cool. And that sort of led to a career in mobile game writing, which was just a fun, avenue, IP generator that I think is going on right now. Mm-hmm. And I think the gaming industry is now thinking IP first. And I know IP is so icky to say, but like, it's just that I think with Angry Birds, they had this huge successful game that they wanted to turn into a movie and a TV show and all this stuff, but the game was just pigs throwing up birds. And so now companies are coming out with like these huge backstories in place so that if the game's successful enough and you get a TV show, you have these characters already in line. And so I was crafting a lot of that for companies and things like that. And it just sort of kept going. Again, it was that thing where I was like, this person would leave this company and then bring me on to work freelance at this company and that. And, but I've always loved creating my own stuff. I had a sketch group. We made hundreds of sketches that never were successful. We had one really big fan named Chaz Snodgrass who would like email us being like, love that sketch. So I was like, I think I'm making sketches solely for a guy named Chaz Snodgrass who does exist.
Worth it.
And I'm like
you were writing and then shooting them and putting them on YouTube?
Yeah, we do the
right.
YouTube
So
thing.
you do the YouTube thing. So you had a fan,
Yeah,
a
we
real
had-
fan
we had
who didn't
one
know
real
you.
fan who didn't know me, and yeah, who wasn't like secretly my mom, and that was really cool. It was just fun to see, but it was like a training ground of like independent production
Yeah.
because it was like every weekend going out and figuring it out and doing all of that. So, yeah, and now I'm just just trying to get projects.
Yeah, but
Off
you
and
both
going.
landed sort of with almost an emphasis on writing, and then also had performance and comedy in you, and then so at what point do you decide to shift into like narrative film instead of just like shooting? Because like, were you tempted when you met to be like, hey, we could do some sketches or something, or was it really like let's write films
I
together?
think it took a sec for us to start working together. I run a writer support group out of my house. It used to be monthly till kids, trying to get back. But, where people come and table read works in progress. And so we both were bringing scripts to that. I loved her stuff. She loved mine, I assume.
I did confirmed.
And so then during the pandemic, I think, Diana, you really made me feel wanted because you asked me again if we wanted to work together.
I did,
Made
yeah.
me feel very loved. So we wrote a pilot together, an animated pilot, because we'd both worked a lot in animation. And so, yeah, we wrote that, and then that got into development, and we were like, oh, this is great. And then we made a couple, do you know Channel 101? It's from like years ago, I think a precursor to YouTube.
Yeah, it's how Lonely Island got their start.
Dan Harmon and Rob Schraub started. It's basically a monthly film festival where you bring in the only rule is they have to be 5 minutes or less. And they'll play 10 shorts, 5 of which are returning and 5 of which are new. And then the people whose shorts were the returning ones, they get to vote on who gets to come back. And so then it just continues. And yeah, tons of people came out of that. I feel like Jack Black, Sarah Silverman.
And
Lonely
is it
Island.
online? It was, you said a precursor to YouTube in a way?
Yeah, it was online, but it would be like QuickTime files, like on a website,
Right,
like
right.
loading. But
Oh, really early.
yeah,
Yeah.
so many careers got launched. Randall Park,
Yeah.
his career,
And his wife, Jay Sue.
yeah. So yeah, like it was a creative stomping ground that sort of I think led to this like content creation world online.
So I had known some of the people through that. And then during the pandemic, they just started to do an audio version called Frequency 101. And I was doing voices, and they were like, could you guys make a show? So we started making audio shows. And it was a great outlet during the pandemic when we were just trapped in our houses. But it was a way that, so it was a monthly timeline. So we'd write a show in a week, and then we'd record it in a week, and then we'd edit it in a week, and then you post it for like viewing and listening and voting, and you find out if you get back. And it was that repeated over and over and over again. And we did 2 series, one of which I think went for like 4 weeks, and we self-canceled, and then another one that went for 9 months, and we canceled. And that was so fun because we wrote it, we directed it, we recorded it, we acted in it. And I think that gave us like a lot of confidence, but also it was so nice having a deadline because we couldn't overthink.
Yeah.
And it forced us to just do it.
I mean, literally, you would finish 1 month and you'd be like, great, we're in it. You'd take like a couple days off, and then you'd be like, oh my God, we have 2 weeks to get this done because we've taken our time off. So we just have to go. But it did mean like we knew that we were good working together, good creative collaborators. We had a good mindset in terms of directing and things like that, and got to like pool our talents. And so we started working together, and it was tough. It was during the pandemic, so we're doing a lot of Zooms, calls, like meetings outside where we're waving at each other. And so I think it just started creating this like it was a creative partnership that started complex and like already got thrown all that life shit in. Like, you know, sometimes if you meet, I had a friend who like worked on cruise ships as an artist, and he would be like, oh, there's cruise marriages and they just only work on the boat, and like then you get on land and they fall apart. And so I felt like that like rapid stomping ground that was complicated and weird and like hard just sort of it showed us that like we didn't need the perfect scenario to like work well together. We could work well with life going crazy and medical scares and shit and all this
and the earth ending.
Yeah. And the earth ending. So it's just like I think that really solidified our work relationship and gave a really good shorthand for us to start going. And then also like, yeah, it did lead us down this path where we're like, okay, it can be more than just being a writing partner. Like, let's think about this holistically.
Mm-hmm. So then we wrote the feature, and then we made the short, and then we wrote another feature that's more of a low budget.
Yeah.
And we're taking that out now.
Yeah, we're trying to...
Right. So the second feature you wrote together, you kept in mind, you
Yeah.
We were like, let's not write a $50 million action comedy that requires 5 different countries. Let's write something that we could potentially shoot in LA for cheap. I mean, I know shooting in LA is a privilege these days when it shouldn't be. LA Tax Board listening.
Yes.
I know you almost like are jealous of the guerrilla filmmakers who just shoot without permits and just, you know what I mean? Like,
it's so hard.
Like,
why are they making it so hard?
The freedom I see from the people who just go guerrilla.
I mean,
you can't do everything.
There's a certain freedom, but it's all there's difficulties there too. I've tried to go guerrilla. I've had shoots shut down, and it's complicated. And and I will say, like, when I bristle at this when people are like, you got to be scrappy, like make a film no matter what. What that means is you're asking a lot of...
Steal your time from your friends.
Yeah, you're stealing time from your friends. You're stealing their talents. And I don't want to say stealing, borrowing, with this expectation of if you get to make something big, you can then pay people. And I think the companies are now going, well, why couldn't you make it for this budget? And so we've done the guerrilla filmmaking stuff. And I think now we're kind of in the spot where we're like, let's pause. Like, let's see what we can get. Let's work a little bit within the system so that we can survive. And it's not like us just being like, we're throwing on all our savings and all that. We want to think about this kind of smartly. This career is a marathon, not a sprint. And so it's like you have to kind of conserve energy when you have a time. So, I feel like I've done the run and gun, and I support anyone who wants to do it, but I can understand not wanting to do it.
Yeah. I just wish, because we've been talking to a lot of filmmakers in other states. We just talked to one in Albuquerque. And I mean, just hearing the luxuriousness of getting to know, I definitely will get at least 25% of my budget back.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be so nice to be able to count on it and budget for it.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. But I actually had a different question to ask, which was, but based upon a seed that I think Diana might have planted by mentioning it, but how early in your collaboration and your friendship did you talk about the gender biased sexism that you'd faced in the industry? Because it is,
I think it was the first sentence I said. I'm Annie. There's so much sexism. No, I'm just kidding.
Right, but I mean, because it's a subtext of the film, and you shared that was something that you both experienced. I'm just curious, like, was it overt between you, or like when did you share your war stories?
During the pandemic, we were both pregnant, overlappingly.
Yeah.
And.
Oh, that's a bond too, isn't it? Being pregnant at the same time?
During a pandemic,
where you're like, let's go to a doctor's office where all the people are dying. It was stressful. And I think that we always wrote women, both of our scripts we'd always have female characters. We'd always be focusing on like, what do I want to see? What have I not seen in the marketplace? But I was pregnant, and I was hired by a company to adapt their mobile game to a feature. And the producer who hired me knew I was pregnant, and she sort of recommended that I maybe not tell anybody. And so I kept the entire pregnancy a secret.
Well, I mean, I feel like I was
Yeah,
kind of
and
like, yeah, do it, hide it. Cause
Yeah.
like I had had a kid before. And when I was 8 months pregnant, I was a finalist for a very prestigious fellowship. And I had to waddle in person. This is the first time they had seen me in person to like a final interview. And the whole interview was just about like how I'd be able to possibly do this fellowship since I was going to be having a baby right before it. And I was just like, this would not be going this way if I was a dude, you know. And then I didn't get it, which, you know, that's not necessarily why I didn't get it, but I guarantee the conversation would have been like, congratulations, that's great. Okay, let's talk about art and, you know, your writing. Mm-hmm. So I was like, yeah, hide it.
Yeah. And I'm glad I did. Because I was pregnant again during filming this. So I hid that. I ended up pitching the movie 5 days after giving birth. So I was just like in a diaper, like just on Zoom, which was wonderful. Zoom's wonderful. And I think it was also bad timing for the project, and there was a lot of things that happened. And yeah, so then I was pregnant again while we were shooting this, and it was like kind of freeing. It felt like I was like, oh, I get to like be here. I get to be on set. Like I'm visibly pregnant. No one's treating me like differently. I just felt like the conversation had shifted. I don't think it's always shifted, but I think people are more aware of it.
But when, like, because you were hiding it, you know, and it was funny. Like, it got pretty funny. It was like a year and a half in, and you're like, I still have a secret baby.
Yeah, like, I have a secret toddler. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
How do I tell people?
And then we were like, well, we've both had these experiences. So many people have had these experiences. We have to write about it, but we don't want to hit it over the head in a drama about, like, getting, like, you know, discriminated against. That's no fun. So we were like, how can we write about this in a fun way? And we're like, assassins.
Yeah. Which did lead to the feature of it. Yeah. And I think also too, this is so focused on our experience as being pregnant people in the workplace and you know, and I think it came up weirdly enough that the Nobel Prize experience with for economics, they awarded it to Claudia Godin about her research, basically being like the point in which women, the like drop off occurs for women in the workplace is when they decide to have a child, if they decide to have a child. And so it really felt like, oh, this is discrimination that has been acknowledged by the Nobel Committee. But I do want to say, like, yes, having a child is a choice, not always in certain places. But I think there's a certain level too where I think this is represented of any time your life might outweigh your work, whether it's like dealing with a sick family member, dealing with an illness yourself, just any time, you know, life might throw a curveball at you and you can't, you know, be at your job giving 155% there. And so it's like, I feel like sometimes people go, oh, pregnancy, and they just sort of like ignore it because they think, oh, that's like you made a choice. And yes, I 100% got to make that choice. Not everyone gets to make that choice. But it is about kind of, you know, life is messy and we're not very good at giving time and credence to people when they need to step out and deal with that. And so, you know, it is about our personal experiences, but I do think it's a universal issue.
But also some of those things make you a better worker. I think, like, for me, having a kid, being pregnant, like, makes me a better writer because I have more breadth of experiences and I have more empathy for different people. You know, I walk down the street and I go, what if that was my kid?
Absolutely. I mean, and it gave you like it gives you like a full range of emotions and like an awareness. I mean, and just like it changes your perspective completely.
And your brain.
And also, I mean, gosh, if you ever want something to get done, give it to a
mom of five.
We were all like, look, we've got these set hours until we have to go do daycare pickup, so we're gonna get things done. Like, no 2 martini lunches for us. Let's go. Like, so, it changes your mindset, but I do feel like it gave breath to our work. I think our work's better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is funny because I'm a dude, but I mean,
we love
also
dudes. We do not hate dudes.
The human, exactly. No, but I mean, the human race, we do want it to continue, and punishing people for becoming parents doesn't make any sense in a broader society. Not besides the fact that it does make you a better writer, and it might even give you new perspectives on life, and maybe even teach you that you're not the center of the universe, which is actually a really good thing, I think, for a creative. So, but I mean, even at other companies everywhere, like other parents who aren't giving birth, talk about being non-binary in my language, but family leave for that.
Yeah,
is an
absolutely.
issue that hopefully other people are making. You don't need to make that film. Elder care, motherfucker. I've been dealing with it for a while. Like it's real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think having those, I think there's ways that it doesn't have to feel like a burden in a company. And I think the reason why it does is because we've been operating on these like shoestring budgets and just grinding people down, and it is like,
I'm 90-hour work weeks.
Yeah, and it's just like if you acknowledge that people have a life outside of work, like it does help. I was just reading recently where there's a huge trend of women who have children under 5 leaving the workforce. And, a comment was like, oh, in Sweden, obviously Sweden, it's the utopia that is Sweden for children.
Sweden.
But they're like, we have mandatory leave and subsidized daycare, so you don't have to choose between like family or a career. And absolutely, there's that sense of like, I'm like, I am raising the next. Do you want a doctor when you're old? Because you need someone to be a child now to be a doctor then. So it is this thing like that where it's like, I do feel there's all these ways, and it's like, it's not a big ask for it.
And if everyone in the household, if both parents had workplaces that acknowledge that when there's a newborn, both should get some time off, then the person who gave birth will actually not have to say, they could say, oh, well, he's going to be home with this baby while I'm working on this fellowship stuff.
Exactly.
Like, I'm not going to be alone with this kid.
Yeah, it's not solely your responsibility, but it's treated as such.
We have this bias that like, even if he's around, like he won't help that much. And like, that's not necessarily true.
No. My husband's manager, he's also a writer in the industry. He was like kind of annoyed because his manager was taking paternity leave and taking the full paternity leave. And he was like, oh, he's going to be out for so long. And I was like, don't you dare say that. And I was like, it is his right and he should be taking it. And the fact that people don't take it is more a problem. So I was like, do not complain about him taking paternity leave because that's 100% what he should be doing. And like, and he just was like, okay, like, all right.
Now go to your room.
Go to your room. And I'll pick up the laundry.
That's true. He should go to his room after finishing the laundry.
Exactly.
And so then he can sort it when he's in his room.
I do make him full of laundry. So there you go. So I think we're moving as a society, but it's complex, and that that's the impetus for our.
But when you sat down to write something, you wrote, you're supposed to write what's important to you. And so you included that as subtext in a really fun comedic film that you obviously also thought of because you had baby rooms.
Well, that was actually a real working baby room.
I had to kick my baby out and then clear out all of her stuff and bring in new stuff. But it was literally, it's like literally like, oh, that's my crib. My daughter now sees it and she goes, oh, is that my room? I'm like, yeah, it is. But that was like, we were like, oh, well, we have the location. I have a baby nursery. Great.
It's going to be so easy.
This is going to be easy.
But someone also had the comic genius moment of looking at a baby room and thinking, how could I hurt someone in here? Right? I mean,
It was a lot of us going, oh, what are baby-proofed items? And then how can we try to kill someone with it and have it fail?
Unsuccessfully.
Yeah, it's like, how would you use this to kill someone, and how would the item itself break down during it?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a lot of that. You spent a lot of time with a baby, with a lot of
Imagining killing people.
filled with rage.
well, murder is just a very human instinct.
Yeah, it's
mean-
the opposite of birth, so
Yeah.
you need to equal it out.
Yeah, no, I really do. No, anyway, I won't joke about it. Even though I really want to decide who lives and dies, but even my judgment can be questioned.
Sure.
I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go figure.
I don't know all the facts.
You
I don't
seem
know.
great. I would put my life in your hands.
Yeah,
You know?
you can be the murder decider. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Let's vote on it. No, is there any like?
Is that the next step of this podcast? We go into a gladiator ring and then fight to the death.
No. We pull out a list of people who we need to take out.
Yeah.
Great. Let's do that, and
I
let's
know.
post it.
I'm
in
shifting.
public domain.
For example, the person who said to Annie, "Can you do this fellowship when pregnant?" They're gone.
Gone.
They're gone.
Gone.
But
No.
I'm just kidding. That's not a. You don't have to die for that.
It's a sort of an expectation of, and I've dealt with this before, where for the longest time, especially in comedy, there would be like one girl. Oh, who's the one girl?
Mm-hmm.
And if you are that one girl, you sort of are fighting for that spot, and so you don't necessarily want to bring up another girl because you're like, I've taken that spot. And so sometimes, like in the past, dealing with it, I've sometimes dealt with like the worst sexism from
Other
women executives and things like that. And I don't think it's an intentional thing or anything, but it's like they are like
Patriarchy.
well, they're like, I had to fight for this. I had to sacrifice. I had to make choices. I maybe chose not to have a family to like have this career. And so it can be, they sometimes can be the one that you're like fighting the most against. That being said, like you might go behind closed doors and the men are like, we're not going to hire that person. Like, so as the producer who warned me, she was like, everyone will say the nicest things to your face and then they will stop calling. And I was like, thank you for that. So,
But hopefully, I think awareness does seem to have changed. I mean, it changed the topic, and I think
so. And I think the idea, women have band together, obviously, and started saying, no, like, let's just change the game. So it's not one girl gets to be on the spot. It can be all girls. It can be, so it's just, I think it reminds me of that quote where someone goes, oh, how many women do you think you'd want on the Supreme Court bench? And I think it was Ruth Bader Ginsburg said 9. And everyone would go, oh, 9? Really? No. Oh, God, 9? And she went, no one had a problem when it was 9 men. And so it's like, I think there is that
I wouldn't
element.
mind a 50-50 split. I think that sounds good to me.
Yeah, like I
or
don't know if
51-49.
I don't know if if I'm talking about, I'm not going to dive into the Supreme Court right now. But I think there's less of that mentality of like, I have to push out the women because I will lose my spot. It's like more rising tides rise all ships.
And we've eventually, and it has been proven in recent history that female-led programs and movies actually can succeed, right? The idea that
Barbie did pretty good.
Barbie did all right. But like I remember when for some reason I could be totally wrong, but I remember at least 15, maybe even 20 years ago when Drew Barrymore started her company and there was a strong female focus, but even then like there had to be like a male co-lead who was more of, you know what I mean? Like, like I feel like it's better now. Like now there can be, I think about something like Broad City and other stuff and like, hey, you know what? You can have 2 female leads and it's okay. There is an audience.
And I don't know if because Broad City came out from their own web series.
Yeah, because they couldn't get on stage at UCB.
They could get on stage at UCB. I love them very
UCB
much.
was too sexist,
Yeah.
if I'm willing to say it.
And but I also think like that show, because it was them and created by them, they got to still star in it. And there was like another show similar vibes called like Mary plus Jane or something like that. And it was very clearly like, they're like, this is Broad City, but through the eyes of executives. And it was just like two beautiful women like going around, and there were good jokes, but it was just that thing where I was like, Broad City in the form that we all love would never exist had it gone through the traditional Hollywood system. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I do think the importance of indie content creation, indie film, indie shorts,
festivals.
Like, you get people who would have never gotten a chance to have the career that they have, who are so talented, and we're better off having them in Hollywood. And you'd have stories that would never get told because they would be like the one guy who, you know, went to Exeter and then went to Harvard. And he's like, this isn't reflective of my life experience. And so I don't want to greenlight this film. And so I think we've seen through all of these, like, opening the door to more filmmakers, more perspectives, we've seen a breadth of stories that have been phenomenal to watch. And yeah, I think it's better
it's
now.
Been so cool. I mean,
Yeah.
From back when I was in an all-girl sketch comedy and stand-up group, and I mean, when we were going around pitching it, we literally were told girls aren't funny. And to see that transition from that to today, there's been such huge strides. So it's exciting.
Yeah, we finally figured out how to be funny. We did it. We learned. Oh, man.
We just copied the men.
We copied the men. It worked.
So, yeah, boy, talk about a long tradition of sexism in comedy. Oh, my God.
I got thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah, I know we don't have, that's a whole different.
But it's hard too, because it's like you laugh at things that you recognize and that are true to you, and that, you know, so it's harder to like laugh at something from someone else's point of view.
I think I'm going to quote my first wife, who's a very good friend, but her favorite line of all time on Sex and the City was at a breakup, the character said to the guy, "You'll never know how funny I am." Like, because she didn't get to show her humor, right? Early in a relationship, women have to like let the guy be funny. And she like said, like, "You'll never know I'm funnier than you because you're breaking up with me like before you saw it." But you know what I mean? Like, it's totally true. Like women were forced to keep their comedy quiet, even in interpersonal relationships.
Annie, I don't know if you feel this way because we're both very tall.
That's true.
I'm 6 feet tall. And so I felt like I was like, I couldn't hide anyway. So I became this goofball. Like, it was like a weird thing because I was just like, oh, people are going to notice me no matter what if I like enter a room because I'm tall and like I can't blend into the crowd. So why not just not blend into the crowd? And so I think that led me to be like funnier because I was just sort of like, why would I listen to you? Like, I'm as tall as you are. Like, what do I care? And so I sometimes, when I'm in like meetings with department heads for projects where they're kind of being a little condescending and sexist to me, I sometimes will then walk into the meeting wearing 4-inch heels, and then I'm towering over them, and the dimension gets a little different. It's really fun. It's a really fun power play to do.
I used to do that on first dates. I'd wear high heels because I had dated some guys who were like, I wouldn't find out till like a year in that they were very uncomfortable about my height and how I was taller than them, and they'd get upset when I'd wear heels. So I'd just start out first date, I'd wear very high heels, and I'd be like, if you're confident enough to have me be taller than you, then we can keep going.
I just went to a wedding and I was dancing with a friend, and she was like, "You're a very confident leader," you know, and I was like, yeah, because it's just like there weren't enough guys. And so then they'd just be like, "You're tall. Like, you're going to be you will learn the guy part." And so that's the other thing too. It's like, because I got put in that position, like I always played men. Like, it was just, so I was like, I guess I learned a little bit where I was like, oh, like, it's not that exciting. I was like, they don't have all the answers.
I mean, and this is not to discourage the topic at all, but I mean, I know from personal experience that we could probably talk about what it's like to be a tall woman in our society. That's almost as long a topic as sexism, because it's such a real thing. I do actually really prefer tall women. No offense to the short people out there,
You get to use
But-
all your kitchen cabinets.
but that's true.
Even
You
the
hit a
one
lot more spider webs, though.
on top of the. I walk into so many spider webs. Yeah.
But like I'm always whatever. I won't bother. But it is like it bothers me what I see like when I meet tall women who like have to like decrease their size, like they physically lower their
smaller.
profile on purpose because they know people can't handle it. And I just wish the world were better.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
guess.
I usually wear flats, but that's just comfort.
Yeah, I mean I'm only wearing those heels for
Yeah.
only.
photo
Actually,
shoot.
high heels are another patriarchal way to punish women.
Don't want us to run.
And they want you to have foot cramps and all kinds of. I mean, they're unhealthy shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in the French Revolution times, men would wear high heels, and then they were like, "Let's give these to women." Seems like let's slow them down. And, all you have to do is watch Tall Girl on Netflix. Got it 100% right. Written by a 5-foot tall man.
Really?
Yeah. Anyway, don't watch that movie. It's not the best of the Tall Girl experience. So yeah, and I'm willing to keep that into the podcast.
Excellent. No. So I shouldn't watch
talking-
it. It's not an inside because
No.
I hadn't heard of it.
It's a movie that came out. It was like a Netflix project. It came out like a few years ago, and I watched it. And I was just like,
Nope.
this is not quite accurate. Yeah, but it's like talking.
That's like me in the cancer movies.
Yeah, we talked offline about
Before we started recording, I
Yeah.
shared that. Yeah.
And I think that's also true of the human experience. Like we've had so many movies for a long time written mostly by, white men who have poorly shown other lifestyles they're not related to, like being women or people of color and things like that. And so I do think that there's a reason why having someone on staff who's lived that experience is
Big
really
writers'
important.
rooms. We need big writers' rooms.
We do need big writers' room. Here's the thing. I think I only got into this industry to be a TV writer because I was like, they get lunch paid for and they get summers off. This is great. Sign me up. And that doesn't exist anymore. And I want it back.
That's true. There is no season.
Yeah. I was like, I want summers off, but I don't want to be a teacher. I'll be a TV writer. And then they were like, what if we got rid of rooms entirely? So
For sure. I know. You can't even explain to a young person what a rerun is.
oh man, I was like, all I got to do is I want to get into syndication. I want to get 100 episodes and then I want to sit back. It doesn't exist anymore.
Oh my gosh. Sometimes I was like a one-line part on Charmed, and I still get residual checks for it. And every time I see my check for like 47 cents, I'm like, Alyssa Milano is so rich.
That's true. That's true. I saw some comedy awards or something where Jerry Seinfeld said to Larry David, like, we were the last. We were the
Yeah.
last people to really cash in on that. Like, it's over.
Yeah.
We were, 10 years later,
Well, and I say this a lot too. I mean, we've had a lot of people leave Los Angeles, and I think the reason to bring filmmaking back into LA, I think people don't really realize that LA was filled with a lot of middle class creatives, and that's like people who would film 6 beer commercials a year, and they could live off of that, or like be a character actor, or be a grip or something like that. And there is this creative middle class that is getting pilfered in LA. And so if you're only dealing with, the rich people who have 100 shows on the air and for some reason are writing all of them themselves, I don't really get that, but
well, their names on them all.
their names are on them all. Yes, that is true. There's just a part of me that if I was that successful, I would just keep a writer's room, if only to like employ some friends and be like, I don't know, go like you can work on your own projects, go for it. But I think that we've seen that kind of move out, and people can't live in Los Angeles because of that. And I think it's been hurting the industry at large, because if you only have people who are either have
Trust funds?
trust funds or people who are like hustling so hard that they're going to burn out and leave. And again, it's this marathon thing. You've got to be able to last. You've got to be able to survive. Being a starving artist isn't very fun. You're mostly focused on the starving part.
And you add in other problems we have in this beautiful city, which is affordability.
Yeah, housing, affordability.
Yeah.
I mean, living in LA is living life on hard.
It's such a beautiful city.
And it's
I know,
it's a phenomenal city.
I mean, and so many artists, so much creativity. I mean, it's really amazing here. You can find anything you want to do or see
and it's a city that
and it's hard to live in Los Angeles and not have friends of different cultures.
yeah.
Whereas a lot of other cities, there's like dividing lines between cultures.
Absolutely.
Whereas with here, there's like, I mean, when I go to another city and there's like a highway, and on one side it's one race, and on the other side of the highway it's another. I'm like, wow, well, LA's not like I grew up it never occurred to me that my life was a Benetton ad until I went to Birmingham, Alabama for a wedding and saw how divided some places are. And I was like, holy shit, all my life, like the classroom was half kids who didn't look like me, and it didn't matter.
Mm-hmm. And you just you have such a stronger understanding of those different cultures because you get to experience them all.
Mm-hmm.
They sure aren't scary.
Not scary. I mean, that's part of growing up here in the Unitarian Universalist Church, which is like basically, I call it Sunday Social Club. It's real, like hip religion created by Benjamin Franklin. We went to like different church services for different religions throughout, and it's like it was so cool. And it's just all right there, and we were able to like go to a mosque, go to a Palm Sunday service, and I feel like that's something you're not going to get in a city that's not as diverse as Los Angeles.
Yeah. So we just have to fix the housing problem.
We got to fix the housing problem. We got to fix
incentives,
the film incentives. Yes. I do a lot of work with Film LA, and
Film LA
I've got some problems.
Yeah, got some notes,
got some thoughts.
Yeah, and Lord knows a student film should be free, get a free permit, let alone low budget, independent stuff.
I think it's just it's also when you push everyone out, you're hurting the prop houses, you're hurting all the support industries that have been here forever. I love going into prop houses because it's just so fun to go into a room filled with only watches. And frankly, I want them to exist. So I can do that. So I can go into a room and be like, look at how many watches there are.
Yeah, hopefully we'll fix it. I feel like they're aware of the crisis. And, now that the studios don't know what's happening anymore, now that everything is in upheaval, hopefully something good comes out of it. I'm hoping.
Well, and
as a third generation Angelino, I kind of need it, or I just need it to last for another 30 years maybe, and then it can all go away.
Well, and I think we're also seeing that I think we're seeing now we've had so many of these influencers come up, and then we're seeing these influencers like sort of reach their max capacity of what they can do. And we're seeing that they're not necessarily able to like pivot to being a film actor, and that being able to make a 6-second video might not mean you can carry a film for 90 minutes, even if hundreds and millions of people love your 6-second video. And so it's that thing too, where it's like, I mean, I've been saying it a lot, but someone said once we flattened everything into content, that was like a big mistake, because there is a big difference between a YouTube video and a feature film. I think in terms of like, the audience experience in crafting it, in the care that it takes to make. And that's just so many people giving their talents, and it has to go so right. I've been in this industry doing this long enough that I know it's a miracle that anything gets made. And it's so much of a miracle if it got made and it's good, because there's just so many places where it can fall apart. I've had so many projects die as PDFs on someone's computer for many reasons. And so it's just like gosh, whenever I see someone promoting their project and I'm like, bravo. Like, it doesn't even matter the caliber of it. You got it done, and that puts you head and shoulders
Huge.
above anyone else. So
It's brave.
It's really brave. We're brave. We're
so brave.
so brave.
We're talking about us.
Well, I mean,
Just
you
us.
are brave. I mean, besides the fact that One in the Chamber is super ambitious, but it is brave. It's absolutely brave.
Yeah.
You were joking, but now I'm being serious.
It's just me calling myself brave. It's
Yeah.
hard, but you can call me brave.
You are very brave.
Thank you.
You're so
You are
brave.
both brave.
I'll pay the bribe.
I mean,
after.
you're named after the goddess of war or something?
Goddess of the Hunt.
The Hunt.
Yes.
Close. I was
yeah.
close.
My
My Greek shit's weak.
Well, that's Artemis, the Greek.
It's Roman.
Roman.
Yeah.
Yeah. When Roman was like, we'll just take all these gods and rename them into weirder stuff. It's like, we definitely created our own religion.
Yeah. And we with those columns. Anyway, I was going to say something, but I lost it, which is fine because I think it might be time to wrap up, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Although the problem is, you two are so personable, we could talk forever about L.A., but we're not even talking about One in the Chamber. So I have a One in the Chamber question.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I think I happen to be married to someone who loves puns. And obviously that is a fantastic pun/double entendre title.
Oh, Annie.
It was Annie. Annie
It
came
was
up with it?
100%
Was
Annie.
it? I don't know.
Yeah.
I do like naming things, so I'll take that.
So I tend to actually like writing projects title first. As I mentioned, my project Magic Monkey Billionaire came as a title. I feel like once I have a title, I'm like, oh, then I lock in. This project, we went through so many
We had
titles.
20 titles. In fact, for a while, the title page had 20 titles on it.
Yeah, we just didn't
Or like
have.
AKA.
And it's even saved in my computer on as Ring of Fire.
Oh, yeah. Ring of Fire was initially.
Ring of Fire was a project, and then Annie came up with One in the Chamber, and it was just like perfect.
I think our runner-up name was A Gun in the Oven.
Yes, a gun in the oven. And I think that would have been worse.
Yes.
And then Annie also had the brilliant idea to, instead of spelling out one,
that was not me. That was Farrell Amadeus.
Oh, okay.
She told that to us.
Okay, well, Farrell Amadeus, as well, a fantastic indie filmmaker, said put the number one in your title so that you'll come up first in all the listings. And it's been a great call.
It's also been great because I think there is a One in the Chamber that was like a serious action movie like 10, 20 years ago that's spelled out. So
we're
we
different.
differentiated.
That is, I will confess to a pet peeve as a festival runner and member of juries, which is if it doesn't have an original title, like how much effort did you put in? If I go to IMDb and there's 79 listings with that title, you really should have changed it.
Yeah.
And like you are super unique as well as having a double meaning.
I mean, that's like once that title came, it just was like, yes, that's 100% it. It was just, it was that thing where we were trying on so many hats that didn't fit. And then you find the one and you're like, oh, perfect. Like this is it. And we can move forward. And I felt like it really locked in
the
the
tone
project, the tone.
and just the world. Yeah.
So yeah, titles are important.
That's right. Although in the last scene, there's actually 2 in the chamber. No. So anyway.
Spoiler.
Oh, was that a spoiler? But we said spoilers were okay, right?
Yeah.
All right. We didn't spoil much, though.
No, not at all.
Excellent. All right. So now my understanding is One in the Chamber, the feature. Hopefully it'll happen.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah.
But you're writing something else that you.
We
that
have we have a show in development with a company called Animasia. It's an animated sci-fi action comedy. We really like mashing genres.
Yeah.
And then we have One in the Chamber, and then we're taking out. We've finished the script. It's a feature. It's a low budget female friendship cancer comedy.
Yeah.
Excellent. I'm
That's all I got.
And it's called.
I'm giving Annie Diana a golf clap because I confessed earlier that this is a very this is a double cancer survivor household and all the cancer films are too serious. As serious as cancer is, it's actually really funny. I mean, after we stop recording, I'll tell you some of our the jokes amongst us. But you have to laugh about the serious shit in
Yeah,
life.
absolutely. And whenever you're in a medical issue, I mean, there's so much waiting. It's like stressful, but it's like downtime. And so it's like, yeah, you're going to get silly and crazy in those scenarios because it's like, I mean, there's only so much you can do between treatments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I applaud you for even approaching a cancer comedy.
Thank you. That one is called Like Forever, if you're into titles.
Yeah.
Which I bet if I looked on IMDb, there is no Like Forever, right?
There is not. And he's really good also about researching and making sure that our projects don't have like other projects with similar tones and things like
That's
that.
really
which is
smart. I'll give in, and like the worst example of the last 10 years is ride share.
Ooh,
You know how
that's a
many
big one?
ride shares have been submitted to our festivals over the years? Thankfully, I think it's finally tailed off.
Yeah.
But there was
They
like
crested.
5 or 10 per festival.
Wow.
Whoa. Were they all the same?
Yeah. The Uber driver is always a killer. Or the person they pick up is a killer. I'm like, you really, I'm being a jerk.
And the car needs to be a killer. No, I mean, I think there's if it's the first idea you had, maybe someone else has already had that idea. So maybe just think about how you can subvert it a little bit more.
That's true. The example I always give young men, if white guys are telling me that they think there's bias, I'm like, well, if you make a film about a guy trying to pick up a phone to call the woman he likes to ask her out on a date, I think we've all seen that 10,000 times. So maybe you should tell a story I haven't seen before. And then guys look me back in the eyes and go, that was my first film. And I'm like, well, see, everyone's done it. Like, stop sending us that scene. Stop pretending that that's a compelling story.
Well, and that's actually, so we got some advice early on in developing this story where they're like, well, what if it's like a don't wake the baby scene and they've already had the baby and it's like they have to like fight really quietly. And we sort of were like, we've seen that. We've seen the
Bullet
don't wake
Train
the baby
did it
scene.
well. Yeah.
Yeah, and so we were like,
Not with a baby, but
we want to do something different. And personally, also, I think, both of us did so much when we were pregnant, and there's like people are like, oh, you're like so nervous about it, but you're still operating. So we were like, no, we want to show someone who's pregnant, who is still fighting, who is still taking hits, who's still trying to like kill someone basically, and getting punched and kicked. And so it was more true to our experience. We didn't get, treated with kid gloves. Although I will say I walked into a Home Depot 9 months pregnant. I didn't have to cut a single piece of wood that day. So many people helped me.
Well, most excellent. All right. Well, do you want to, is there a website or social media people should follow to catch a couple or?
we have an Instagram.
Yeah.
It's One in the Chamber Film.
Yeah, One in the Chamber Film with the number 1 on Instagram. And also we have a link tree that just highlights all of our stuff as Girard, GIRWRIGHTY.
It's our last names smashed together.
Yeah.
Which means a lot to me. I'll tell you when we stop recording. But anyway, well, I come from a family of like business owners, and like almost every business was like 2 names mashed together like that.
Yeah, just smash them together.
Old school family business philosophy.
Sometimes people read it as girl writing.
Yeah.
Or it's not that. It's
We had a
Girard.
producer who was very thrown for a loop. So.
Yeah. But we did see how that could come up.
Fair enough. All right. Well, we'll make them clickable links, and
Great.
if and when you put One in the Chamber, if and when it's out there for the world to see, we'll make that a clickable link too.
Oh, great.
I have a feeling it'll be out soon.
Pretty soon.
Yeah.
Pretty soon, yeah, because you've been on you've had a great festival run, as I recall.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I'm proud of our festival. We don't care if something's been shown many, many times. We just show the best films that get submitted.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, we appreciate it.
Yeah, we
and,
so appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah. And we were near the end of your run, I assume.
a little bit, kind of I would say in the last half, certainly.
Yeah.
You know,
we were given a couple waivers, and we're like, sure.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the other thing too. I will say, if you're listening to this at the beginning of your journey, a very polite waiver ask
Sometimes works.
sometimes works, and it will save you some money. And sometimes they say no, and that's fine. But, just a very professional ask, and then accepting whatever outcome comes your way, might work in your favor.
Absolutely. But don't ask me. Not kidding. So anyway.
You have to pay double. Just give
I
them
mean,
a
I will
donation.
say it does seem like film festivals are like not flush. I feel like having talked to a lot of festival runners, it seems very hard to run a festival and keep it above water.
Yeah. I used to run an indie improv festival, and it was a nightmare, and so much work and so much unappreciated work.
Yeah.
And people yelling at you because you didn't accept their team or whatever. And you're like, I'm doing this for free. Like, what do you want from me? And so I think it's very easy. So it's very difficult to create an opportunity. And you've obviously done wonderful work creating
thank you
opportunity
so
for
much.
others. But I think people then take it for granted once it's been created, and don't realize that so many people are doing this out of the kindness of their heart and wanting this to exist and things like that. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. It's so close to a tangent. But instead, I'll just wrap it up with so thank you, Annie. Thank you, Diana. Thank you both for being here.
Thank
and for
you.
coming in
Having
person.
us.
Lord knows you probably would have been tempted to do Zoom, but in person's always better. Right?
And gotten to pet a guinea pig.
Oh yeah, good
Over
old
Zoom.
I know. I should have renamed the podcast like live from Chester's room or something. My little buddy. Okay, so anyway,
Quiet.
he is. They are quiet animals, right? Yeah. But
I had some loud ones.
yeah,
Yeah.
he'll squeak. He'll squeak if he hears. If I was near the refrigerator, oh boy, he knows he's getting just like a dog when it hears the can opener. All right, so anyway, super interesting tangent. Thank you both for being here. Thank you everyone for listening. If you're listening, like, subscribe, write a review, be kind. Kindness rewards the person being kind as much as the person receiving the kindness. I say that every time. All right. If you want to learn more about the podcast, go to discoverindiefilm.com. On social media, it's always at DIFWins. My podcast producer, Karina, is on the social media. I quit social media earlier this year.
Smart.
But I am on Blue Sky, so if you actually write to at DIFWins on Blue Sky, I'm the one who sees it. So far, no one has written, so I don't know why I keep saying it. Because no one's on Blue Sky. It's so quiet there, but
Yeah.
I'm on there. And that's discoverindiefilm.com. If you go to discoverindiefilm.org, that is the nonprofit that runs the two film festivals. One in the Chamber just won awards at Film Invasion Los Angeles at the 10th anniversary of Film Invasion Los Angeles. So you can learn more about that festival if you go to filminvasionla.com or at Film Invasion LA. Its sister festival that's celebrating its 10th anniversary this December is the Sherman Oaks Film Festival. You can learn more if you go to ShermanOaksFF.com or at ShermanOaksFF on social media. And I call them sisters. I'm not sure why, but next year they get a cousin.
Ooh.
In January of 2026, Film Invasion Lima, Peru is happening.
Wow.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah, and I could slip you a waiver for one in the chamber for that one.
I mean, I've been a couple times to Lima.
You've been? I haven't
do,
been.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I've never been.
I've never been,
My
but-
husband lived there for 3 months. So.
Oh, I mean, it's this fantastic filmmaking team who's been in our festival twice. One of them said to me at the closing night mixer at last year's Sherman Oaks, I wish I had a community like this down in Lima. Because he traveled up from Lima for the festival. And I was like, well. The guy who asked me about Film Invasion London flaked. The guy who asked about Film Invasion San Francisco flaked. The guy who asked about... I keep saying guy. They've all been guys. But I said, if you're interested in doing... I'm like, I've known you for 3 years now. If you want to be the festival runner for Film Invasion Lima, I'll have your back. I'll give you all I can. Support you. And so it's happening.
That's so
That's
cool.
awesome.
It is really cool. And there's a gorgeous theater in like the Spanish Quarter downtown where like it's all the
wow.
colonial
Cool.
era buildings with the art museums and everything.
Oh, beautiful.
And this theater is like a fraction of the cost of a theater up here. Like it's
yeah.
insane.
That's awesome.
I'm sure that you could get a deal.
Yeah, no, I'm literally thinking like of trying to convince my partner to rent this house and then we'll just live in Lima and fly up here for festivals.
it's a way to do it.
Oh my
because
gosh.
LA, it's hard. It's hard to be here.
Yeah, and we hate work.
Yeah. Oh, you'll say.
Where?
When is that going to be?
January, I believe January 16th and 17th.
Oh, so
Wow.
cool.
Yeah, when it's summer down there.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 6-hour nights. After I stop recording, I'll tell you what that's going to cost. All right. Thank you, Diana. Thank you, Annie. And thank you, everyone who's listening.